Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a client that had anxiety at the idea of public speaking. And what was evident with this particular client is that they had an absolute conviction that it wasn't something they wanted to do. And the reason they didn't want to do it is because they had negative associations of judgment, of evaluation, of things that made it undesirable for them to do. And it was really important because in other areas of their life, they could get into very focused and flow-like states of passion and responsibility and just impact. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is an element of identifying 3 different role models of very passionate, competent, impactful communicators, speakers, people that have made a difference in the world. And this client was observing them, but observing them deliver the kinds of things that they would normally communicate, and therefore giving evidence that there is options like flexibility of how things get communicated. So for those knowledgeable, maybe other therapists knowledgeable about association and disassociation, you'll notice here that we're starting with a disassociated state because she doesn't currently have those resources, but seeing those resources utilized for her message and then harnessing and associating into that state and then creating an anchor to re-trigger that. That was the first part of this hypnosis session. The second part is what's called future pacing. So then she can see herself in the future with these resources, delivering her words in a way that she would want to deliver them, where the focus isn't on the undesirable elements of speaking, but the benefits of speaking. And the benefits of speaking to an audience normally are that you get to shape perceptions and opinions and facilitate change and challenge people's ideas. Once she thought about it in this way, it put her in a different state because it represented something different. And one of the things that I've learned from working with literally hundreds and hundreds of clients is that quite often the emotion that you feel is not linked to reality, but linked to the meaning that you give reality. And if you change the meaning, you change the emotion. And if you change the emotion, that then changes the results that you get because there's a slightly different version of you doing that thing. If you're listening to this and you have a fear of public speaking or a fear of presenting, hopefully this session will benefit you because it's ambiguous enough to be useful, I think, to pretty much anyone. But this is one over several sessions with this client that I'm working with. And if you feel that you might benefit from my help in this area, there will be a link in the show notes to schedule a free call with me to explore what that would be like. For now, though, definitely worth listening to this because it might just do what you need to do and get you in a more positive state of mind for your next speech or presentation or talk that you're doing. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, notice the relaxation around your eyes, eyelids, eyebrows, so that as you breathe in and breathe out, notice how much more relaxed your eyes are becoming. Eyelids feeling heavier and heavier. And allow that feeling of relaxation to move upwards into your forehead and downwards into your cheeks and your jaw, releasing feelings of tension and enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to think back to a time where you were in a state of reflection and perhaps even meditation. I want you to remember where you were back then, when you felt you could reflect on your life and make changes that rippled throughout your life, taking it into a positive direction. As you think about that place, I want you to imagine that you're back in your body back then, seeing what you saw around you. I want you to breathe how you were breathing back then when you'd been in that place for a while, finding a rhythm, perhaps where you were breathing deeply in through your nose and having that long outward breath, activating your diaphragm, feeling centered, feeling relaxed, and feeling resourceful. And in that place, I want you to imagine that your body is starting to relax more deeply than it has for a long time. Imagine your neck and shoulders just melting away any tension. Arms and legs feeling limp, loose, heavy, so relaxed. As you breathe in, imagine that your lungs are relaxing, and that relaxation goes all the way down into your diaphragm, into your gut, so that breathing becomes effortless, and any feelings of tension and anxiety or stress are leaving your body in your outward breath. That relaxation going down into your legs, all the way to the tips of your toes, as it feels like you're going into a place of calm, resourceful relaxation. And while you're in this place of relaxation and meditation, I want you to think perhaps of someone that has a particular quality when it comes to presenting and talking. I want you to create an image in your mind of someone that, when they talk to an audience, they are relaxed and composed. That their style of communication is conversational. And notice that the way in which they communicate is not necessarily proportionate to the content of their words. They can deliver impactful words designed to provoke the way that people think, and yet still deliver that in a effortless, relaxed, conversational style. And I want you to imagine that you're observing them communicating the kinds of things that you would communicate. It's almost like you're seeing your words delivered in their style. They don't hold back. They're reflecting back things that are important, changes that are required. They're just delivering it in a very relaxed, composed, conversational way. And when you feel that they're delivering it the way that you would like to deliver it, just let me know by nodding your head. Then I want you to shift perspective so it feels like you're in their body, delivering the same words but in their style. And notice that when you deliver the words in a relaxed and composed way, you breathe differently to how you normally breathe. Low in the diaphragm. An absence of tension around the neck and the shoulders and the arms. There's a feeling of fluidity in your body. And I want you to tap into that feeling and imagine that it is now your words and your voice, but delivered in this way. You feel relaxed, conversational, effortless almost. As you feel like you're delivering those words, notice where in your body it feels like this relaxed, composed way is coming from. Notice that location and imagine that you can activate this way of communication just by making a particular move in your body. And perhaps if you're feeling relaxed and composed, you might notice that your head feels less tense around your neck. So maybe it's the way that you move your head that taps into this feeling, or maybe it's moving your fingers or your toes taps into this feeling of being relaxed and composed, because normally you wouldn't do those things. Tap into that feeling, and when it feels like you can access this way of communicating on demand just by making that move in your body, and I want you to make that move in your body now. That's in. Just let me know by nodding your head if you can tap into that resourceful feeling. That's it. And I want you to find like you're back in that place of meditation and relaxation. And perhaps think of a different style of communicator. Someone more intense, passionate, full of conviction and tenacity. And when you can think of someone like that, let me know by nodding your head. And again, I want you to observe what they do with their hand gestures, their mannerisms, the pace, the rhythm of their voice. But also notice their eyes intently looking at their audience. I want you to get a sense that this is a very different style of communication, but still a useful tool in the toolkit when you really need to make an important point and to challenge the status quo. And I want you to see this individual delivering the kind of things that you talk about in this animated, intense, passionate way. Maybe giving you ideas about different ways in which you can communicate things. But if you can see this individual communicating your words in their unique style, let me know by nodding your head. And then step into their body, feeling like their audience is your audience. And maybe you're breathing faster in this more intense version of you. Maybe you're more expressive with facial expressions and hand gestures. Maybe the volume of your voice is louder. And you can feel that intensity perhaps near your chest. That it feels that this isn't something that you necessarily want to do, but it feels like there's a calling that you have to do it, that there is a responsibility. And notice that in this state, you don't even necessarily need to think about what you're going to say. The words just flow out in an articulate, passionate way, full of intensity, eyes focused on the audience. And perhaps you can access this state by doing something intense, maybe clenching a fist, or maybe focused on someone's eyes in the audience intently. Something you can do on demand to get you in this intense state. And then try and do that thing just in your imagination or in reality to access this state of intensity, to bring about this feeling. And when you've done that, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Find yourself back in that place of meditation. Taking a deep breath in, a deep breath out, resetting your physiology, feeling relaxed again. And then I want you to imagine someone you consider to be a real professional communicator. Maybe you see them doing a speech to an audience, or maybe they're being interviewed by someone on TV. But I want you to see how well they can access the right information when they need it. They come across like a font of information, professional even when they're interrupted. And then I want you to see this individual delivering the kind of words that you deliver. But notice how it's different from how you do it. The rhythm of the voice, the confidence in the tonality, the facial expressions, the mannerisms. When you feel like they're doing it the way you'd like to do it, then switch perspective so you feel like you're in their body, and it's no longer their words and their voice, it's your voice coming through their body, and you're feeling as resourceful as they would feel. Feeling calm, confident, with a sense of certainty that it almost doesn't matter what comes up because you can handle anything thrown at you. A sense of confidence. And feel within your body where you feel that confidence as you continue to look out at the audience or the interviewer, or perhaps imagining lots of squares on a screen to represent a video call, and yet you can still remain that composed and that confident. And decide on a trigger to reactivate this feeling. Maybe a gesture with your fingers, a particular pattern of breathing, maybe even a facial expression. And then redo whatever it is that would be the right trigger for you to re-access this state, knowing you can do it on demand. That's it. Find yourself back in that place of meditation. And this time we're going to see a future version of you that just seems to be more relaxed and composed, and has a wide variety of tools in their toolkit where you can be composed and conversational all the way up to fiery, passionate and intense, yet still be professional. And I want you to see a version of you in the future delivering a talk to a room of people. And you can tell from your facial expression and your breathing rate that you're not fazed by this. You're very relaxed in this environment. And when you start to deliver it, notice that you can, in a very relaxed way, hold eye contact with different people in the room. You can elaborate on a point, answer a question, and then going back to your talk. Notice how relaxed you look. And then perhaps there's a part of your talk that requires more intensity, and then see you becoming more intense full of conviction, challenging the room and being tenacious with it, but still seeming so professional. And if you need statistics or facts to back up any point, they just seem to effortlessly flow to you at the point where you need them. Rewind this scene and then feel like you're in the first person in that room. And I want you to do something that gets you into a state of feeling relaxed, composed, and in a conversational style. Just do that gesture, that feeling, that trigger. And notice that it's now your words, but in a really conversational way, and you can see an audience in front of you, and it doesn't feel outside of your comfort zone. And then there's a point you want to make, and then get into that intense state of conviction, passion, and tenacity. Unapologetic. You've got something that needs to be said, and you will say it. And feel how good it feels to deliver it in that way. Perhaps noticing a few facial expressions where people are surprised, but you relish that. You're not here to make friends, you're here to make changes to impact the people in front of you, to get people thinking differently, acting differently, doing differently. And as you deliver that in the way that you want, and it feels good, let me know by nodding your head. And then imagine that you're doing it in a really professional way, an articulate way. And imagine someone from the audience interrupts you with a question, and notice how quickly you can maintain control answering that question, completely unflappable, unflustered. And then you go back to your point. And notice that everyone in the room sees how you handled that individual and adjusts their attention, their focus, but also the way in which they interact with you, more respectful. And notice how good that feels until you've delivered what you needed to say in the way that you wanted to say it. And you end your talk feeling good, not relief, but a sense of pride, a sense that you've tapped into a responsibility, and you've met that responsibility with your competency, and that you've made a difference. And making a difference is the fuel to encourage you to do more of these kind of things. And then imagine seeing yourself like you're someone else in front of a screen where you're doing a presentation or a talk to various people, maybe over Zoom or Teams or some other kind of digital platform. And notice, you can tell from your facial expressions, you look composed, calm, confident. And maybe you start your talk with something that seems very chatty, relaxed. But notice how important the messages are that you're delivering. There's almost a cheekiness, a fluidity to your words. And then the rhythm changes and you become more intense, more passionate, but proportionate to something which isn't right the way it is. I want you to get a sense that it feels natural for you to talk in this way. And look how articulate and professional you are. And then imagine climbing into that version of you, where it's you looking at the screen, and your attention is never on you. Your attention is on the faces of the people that you're talking to. You feel calm, you feel relaxed, and you treat it like you would if you were having a conversation with 3 or 4 people in front of you. Occasionally making eye contact with people just to check they're paying attention, not afraid to pick up on people if they look distracted or confused. Honing in on that feeling of being relaxed and composed, but able to be passionate and articulate and professional. Where focus goes, energy flows, and your focus is not on you. Your focus is on the message and the impact of that message. And as you focus on that, you have this idea that if you can impact just one person, whether face-to-face or digitally, that's enough for you. You're not here to make friends, you're here to change people's thoughts, challenge people's ideas, get them thinking in new ways. And when you focus on that as the outcome, notice it's effortless for you to feel in flow, calm and confident, composed and unflappable. Tap into that feeling and accept that you can access this resource whenever you need it. I want you to get a sense that you're not afraid of the opinions of other people. Other people's opinions are their business, not yours. Your focus is on what you can influence, your message, and how you deliver it. Freeing you from any anxiety and worries of variables outside of your control, because there's so many things you can control. Tap into that feeling, knowing that you can utilize it whenever you need, and that these resources will come to you when you need them the most. Find yourself back in that place of meditation, feeling that something's changed for you. Talking to people is no longer daunting. It's no longer a worry. It's an opportunity for you to impact lives, beliefs, thoughts, ideas, behaviors. And you're looking forward to surprising a few people with a new version of you that talks in a way that you would ideally like to. Find yourself returning to the present as you accept that this is just ideas within ideas, thoughts within thoughts, dreams within dreams. And now all parts of you are in the present listening to my voice. But take all of those resources, all those ways of communicating in different ways with you, knowing you can harness them whenever you need. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, no longer resentful of needing or having to talk, but feeling grateful that you get the platform to deliver things the way that you want to deliver them. Counting from 1 to 10 to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.